Good evening. Since last month's programme, I can report 8 arrests as a result of cases we've asked for your help with, including 4 on murder charges. 3 of those arrests are as a direct result of viewers' calls to Crimewatch. There were dramatic developments on the murder of Julia Baines. She was the 18-year-old from Wakefield who walked home from a disco. 600 viewers rang, some of whom helped to eliminate from the inquiry an attack on another woman that same night. That assault had been part of a domestic row. Independently of Crimewatch now, a local man has been charged with Julia's murder. And 3 men now face charges on the shooting of businessman John Reynolds. John was killed while walking the family dogs. 1 man has been charged with murder, and he and 2 others with conspiracy to murder.
A few weeks before Christmas, David Hurd became the first postman to be murdered in connection with his work in nearly 4 centuries of the postal service. It's difficult to figure why someone would want to steal pre-Christmas letters. It's harder still to imagine why anyone would be prepared to kill for them. David Hurd lived all his life in Sheffield, and all his life had gone to see United. He had 2 great passions, his football and his family.
My life now is non-existent. I don't feel as though I've got a life, because the love of my life is dead.
See ya! David had spent 31 years working for the Royal Mail.
David loved his work. He enjoyed the outdoors, driving, and he never ever complained about getting up, going to work early or coming home late at night.
At 5:50 p.m. on Monday the 15th of November, Andrea Bray was in Fraser Crescent, Woodseats.
I suddenly heard some footsteps at the back, and I turned round and saw 2 lads. I remember the 2 lads because they came up behind me and startled me. I turned round to look at them, and they'd gone down the grass verge. Both the boys were young.
Could they have been you? Next day, Tuesday the 16th of November.
Hello, love. You all right?
David used to ring me up nearly every day to see if I was all right, and he rang at 4:15, asked if I was all right.
Love you too. I'll have your supper ready for you when you get in. Bye, love.
And that was the last conversation I had with David.
Soon after calling Jean, David set off on his last collection. At 10 to 5, Andrea Bray was once again in Fraser Crescent.
I was coming home from work, and I got up to the post box at the bottom, and the mousy-haired boy I'd seen the night before was stood on the corner, just stood there with his hands in his pockets. It seemed odd because he was just loitering around.
Moments later, the van was seen travelling at high speed, following a dark Cavalier. This is half a mile away from the letterbox. It's Lindburn Road, where, as it happens, a resident was expecting a delivery.
Hey, sounds like a van.
Go and have a look then.
I knew he went to postman. He wasn't wearing a uniform. He wasn't old enough to be a postman. He wasn't old enough to be nothing. Come here.
What's the matter?
Well, look at him there.
What's he doing?
He was about 5'6", 5'8", slim build, very fresh face. He looks as though he'd never had a shave in his life. He was a young lad. He sat in the front of the van and he shot round as though somebody shouted him from behind.
Where's he going now?
He's walked to the back of the van.
There's another lad with him.
The second guy, he was like stocky built. He was maybe about 5'8". His hair was very unkempt. He walked across to the car, which was a dark Cavalier. He got something out of the car, then moved to the back of the post office van. Can you see what they're doing?
No, I don't know.
The movement seemed as though they were moving stuff out the back of the van into the back of the car. Wait, he's coming back. The driver of the van walked back round to the front of the van and then wiped the door handle and walked back. They got into the right hand back seat of the car and they drove off. I'm gonna phone post office.
Meanwhile, back in Fraser Crescent, a motorist saw someone lying in the road. David Hurd was still alive, but he had massive injuries to his chest. Although an ambulance arrived in minutes, he died before he got to hospital.
I don't know if I'll ever get over it at all. But come time, and with people's help, I hope I do. But I shall never stop loving David.
John Booth, David Hurd had been hit on the back of the head. He'd then been run over in his own van. Why? I mean, was there any money on board?
No, there was 4 postal packets removed from the van, but there was no monetary value whatsoever in the van at all.
They're quite extraordinary. You've got pretty good descriptions of these two lads, particularly the younger one, whatever he is, 16 years old, something like that.
Yes, he's 16, 17 years of age, 5'6" tall, slim build, with short, dark hair, which is evenly cut, very clean shaven. Doesn't look as though he's shaved, very clean shaven.
Described as sort of baby-faced, really.
That's right.
And the other one, who's a bit, what, 2, 3 years old?
Yes, he's 18 to 20 years of age, 5'8" tall, average build, fair hair, which was very unkempt.
Now, the vehicle that they were in, it seems, this Vauxhall Cavalier, you've got a rather better description than we gave in reconstruction.
That's right. It's a Mark II Cavalier, which ranges from X to F registrations. It's a 5-door hatchback, and it is dark in colour, and that is still to be traced.
Now, you've made a lot of inquiries in Sheffield. I know you've actually had a huge response. Everybody's been trying to help on this one. Could this have been organised from outside Sheffield?
That's right. We're now in the 9th week of the investigation. There's been a great deal of response from the local people of South Yorkshire. Many inquiries have already been undertaken, but we're now looking further afield. In particular, we've got teams of detectives working in the Manchester area and on offences that have taken place of a similar nature elsewhere in the country.
You still need to eliminate those 2 lads we showed in the reconstruction who were seen there the night before. I mean, if somebody's heard something on the streets, if somebody's heard some gossip, if somebody's got some suspicions, it's always difficult, basically, to shop somebody that you know, particularly if you care for them.
Right. All I would say to those individuals that if they ring and contact myself or the incident room at Ecclesfield Police Station, any information that is given to us will be dealt with in the strictest of confidence and will be taken through and dealt with in that nature.
Okay, I should say there is an enormous reward on this, very, very big for normal criminal inquiries. £50,000 for information leading to conviction. So if you can help in any way with this case, the number here in the studio is 0500 600 600. or you can call South Yorkshire Police at another free call number, 0500 400 200. That's 0500 400 200.
Well, now to photo call, we had a mixed response to last month's faces. Avtar Singh, who's top left there, police believe has information on a fatal stabbing. 100 viewers rang to help, but so far he's still elusive. The man on the top right is thought to be involved in a deception. 25 viewers called, and police say they're especially interested in one name that's been suggested, and forensic tests are being carried out. On the lower left, we've obscured the face because as a result of the programme, a man has been arrested and he's due in court on charges of serious sexual offences against children. And finally, John Dempsey Blackstock. Police want to speak to him in connection with a series of offences, and several callers thought they'd spotted him in Bath. Indeed, 2 weeks ago, his Range Rover was found abandoned there, but John Blackstock, or Dave as he may call himself, is so far still missing. Well, now here are Superintendent David Hatcher and Detective Constable Jackie Hames with this month's Gallery of Faces.
This is Nicola Taylor. You may recognise her particularly if you run a nursing agency. Between 1989 and 1991, Mrs Taylor was working as an auxiliary nurse for an elderly lady in Sunningdale. During that time, a large amount of money went missing from her employer's account. 18 months ago, Nicola Taylor and her husband left their Bracknell home in a silver Vauxhall Cavalier, registration E615CFC. If you know where she is, please ring us now.
Do you recognise these men? On the 21st of October, in the early hours of the morning, 2 of the men stole a substantial amount of cigarettes, cigars and tobacco from a shop in Llanberis, North Wales. The first man is in his late teens, of medium build, and he was wearing a light-coloured jacket. Just over 2 months later, the second man returned to the same shop, only this time he was wearing a different hat. He's in his mid-20s and was unshaven. On this occasion, he also had a different accomplice. He was also in his late teens with short brown hair. His baseball cap has a tartan peak. If you know any of these men, please call.
Next, can you find this man, Everett Watson? Reading Police would like to speak to him in connection with an attempted murder. Near Oak Park is a site for mobile homes, just a few miles outside the town centre. On Saturday evening, the 4th of December, a woman was attacked in this home. She was left badly beaten and unconscious. Everett Watson is 52 and 5'6", and sometimes uses the name Ricky Watson. He may be driving a mid-blue Lada Riva similar to this one, registration number G736DAN. If you can help at all, please call us tonight.
And do you recognise this man? He's seen here on Friday the 19th of November in the Coventry Building Society in Sheffield Town Centre. He threatened the cashier and escaped with a large amount of cash. Just over a month later, on Thursday the 23rd of December, he went into the Newcastle Building Society, again in Sheffield, and stole cash. But this time he was wearing a different disguise. He's in his early 30s, around 5'9" to 6 foot, and well built. If you can help with this, or any of our other photo call cases, please call.
Here's the free call number, 0500 600 600. That's 0500 600 600. I must say, I can't remember for a long time such a flurry of activity as we've had in response to the David Hurd reconstruction. I think every position is busy at the moment. Incidentally, Greater Manchester Police have asked us just to mention a really rather gruesome case in which a torso was discovered, but the head had been removed. They still need to identify the victim, and they need to eliminate a car seen where he was found. The body was discovered a month ago in Wyre Street, Piccadilly, under railway arches. A dark Ford Escort was seen there at 4 a.m. It had an extra brake light and it had a round sticker in the back window. The driver, well, he was between 20 and 40. He had dark hair. We don't know much more about him. The victim was in his 20s or 30s. He was of medium height with dark brown hair. He had a faint appendix scar. And he's unlikely to have been a manual worker. He had soft hands and clean fingernails. Now, do you know anyone who's gone missing who could fit that description? If so, please call.
Well, our next reconstruction now is a jewellery raid in Rugby, which took place 7 weeks ago. What's extraordinary about it is the way the local community rallied immediately to try to apprehend the robbers. Unaware at the time that one of the robbers was armed, 5 local people actively intervened, and they've taken part in our reconstruction, and you'll see most of them in the film which follows. It's Friday the 22nd of October. This is Regent Street, close to Rugby town centre. The shops here are mostly small businesses, and the owners have become a tight-knit and friendly community.
Morning. Just a moment, I'll check. Mr. Cleaver, it's Mrs. Parker. She wants to know when our wash will be done.
Say as late as possible.
Mr. Parker? Yes. Well, when did you want
I've been here for 40 years. Trade has picked up in the last few years.
Okay.
We moved up market and we have some wonderful clients. Almost friends, in fact.
Right, all right, then we'll see you then.
I love the job. I'm very proud of it. It's a part of my life.
Do you think we'll need longer than an hour?
Hey? Oh, we'd better. Yeah, I've got some change.
Ian Marsh had been ill with flu and had taken time off work that day to see the doctor. He and his wife had some time to kill before his appointment. Traffic warden Julie Cox was working her regular patch that morning, as usual noting times and registration numbers. She wasn't to know that the Honda bike had been stolen the previous day.
Morning, Tom's Cleaver Jewels.
Morning, Doris. I'm just working out the back. Come down when you're ready and we'll go through those receipts.
Okay, Mrs. Cleaver. It's Mrs. Cleaver for you.
Okay, I'll take it out to you.
In Market Street, just around the corner from the jewellers, garage owner David Townsend was serving a customer in the shop.
Don't forget the matches. White motorcycle came round the forecourt and stopped talking to the chap I just served. Whether they knew each other I don't know, but as I didn't want petrol I took no more notice of them.
Shortly after 10 o'clock, shop owners Peter and Linda Amos were arriving for work.
Oh, blast. Nowhere to park again.
We better go round the block again, Pete.
Their menswear store is next door to Tom Cleaver's jewellers. That morning they were a few minutes late opening up. What happened next was recorded on the shop's security camera.
Get back! When I heard the scream, I went rushing to the shop. Gut reaction, knew what was happening. Seeing Jessica's face and the staff, I just got angry and had to stop them. So I went for the guy nearest to me. I felt 1, 2, 3 in the arm, realising I'd been stabbed, but not knowing how badly.
Suddenly dawned on me that there was a robbery going on. I had to do something. Literally in seconds they were coming out the door. There was no more time to think. My arms were up. He punches, 2 quick punches to my arm, and the pain wasn't a punch. And I looked down and realised I'd been stabbed.
Help! Pete! Tommy's been hurt!
My intent was to dismount the rider, unaware that there was someone else following up. I glanced the blow off first of all with my elbow, and so I got a stab wound in my elbow. He then went again to stab at me, so I turned further and it stabbed in the back. And I suppose at that point I got very angry. I got up, I thought, you bastard. He went to run away, other people were chasing, and I followed as well to try and get him off the bike.
I'd just come round the corner. I didn't really know what was happening. I thought perhaps the motorbike had been stolen or something.
Request an ambulance. Oh, God, all right. Is it down?
It's all right, it's just my arm. You better get an ambulance.
Back in Market Street, Jim Middlemass was on his way to get some petrol.
I was heading towards the garage when this large white car came out of an entry from my right and headed straight for me at a high speed. Just missed me. I looked in the rear view mirror to try and get a view of his number plate or something, but he'd gone. He was so fast. Did you see that big white car come out of the entry just then? No?
Jim had already heard there'd been a robbery in the town and that 2 men had escaped on a white motorbike.
I had a big red white motorbike come round here this morning. Stopped at that telegraph pole.
Between them, they worked out there must have been a vehicle switch very close by. They went to check the car park behind the club next door.
Let's have a look, come on. Is this the one you've seen? Yeah, that looks like it. Well, I'll take the number, you get the fees. Yeah, okay.
One of them shouted at us,
The
get
one
back.
that shouted at you, can you describe him? What was he like? No, it was just
He was wearing
He's standing in the arc.
a red
But I'm certain I would recognise him if I saw him again.
I've always thought, what would I do if it happened? How would I react? Where would I be at the time? All goes through your mind. There's no way I could have stood by seeing the fear on my staff's faces. And I don't quit being foolish. I think it's about time people stood up and tried to stop these people. I really do.
Nobody wants to be a hero these days. All he needed to have done was shown me the weapon that he had, the knife or whatever he was carrying. And I'd have put my hands up. Goodbye. I'm not going to endanger myself. There is a level. But this particular chap, I think, was hell-bent on viciousness, and I think he was enjoying it too.
D.I. Lewis, altogether 3 people were wounded. How are they now?
That's right, all 3 men were stabbed quite seriously, Mr. Cleaver in particular, but fortunately all men are making a good recovery.
And how much do you know about the man with the knife?
Well, we got an artist's impression of this man. He's been described as about 5'4" to 5'6" in height, of stocky build, of light-skinned Afro-Caribbean appearance, maybe mixed race. He had a skinhead type haircut, with possibly a bald patch or a tram line cut into the side of his hair.
So you know a fair amount about him. What about the second man?
The second man, not so much. He had his helmet on throughout the incident. All we can say is he was taller and slimmer.
And before the robbery, the robbers were seen chatting briefly to somebody in front of the petrol station that morning. You need to trace that man.
They were indeed. He's been described by a witness as an Asian gentleman, wearing a parka coat, as you can see, with the hood up. He's of average build, about in his late 20s. But despite having the hood up, we believe he had long dark hair. We really do need to trace this man, to speak to him. He may be able to assist us with our inquiries.
Yes, he may or may not be involved, but you certainly need to be an important witness. The other thing you need to trace is the white car, a high-powered white car of some sort.
We do indeed. A witness has described it as a low, sleek, sporty model, possibly similar to a Cosworth or one of these newer Japanese-type models. We haven't traced such a vehicle stolen at the time, so it may well have been their vehicle. We really do need to find this vehicle to assist with the inquiry.
Or if somebody had a vehicle stolen around that time, answering that description.
That's right.
What exactly was stolen from the shop?
10 watches in total, 9 of which were Rolex watches. We very much want to speak to anyone who's been offered those watches or anything similar.
Our concern, of course, is not so much for what was stolen as to the actual violence that was used. We've got just a few more clues, some clothes they dumped on their escape.
That's right. The offenders definitely dumped these articles of clothing in a country lane just outside of Rugby. This is the helmet that was worn by the offender who stabbed the 3 gentlemen. It's quite distinctive. It's got this laser motif on the side. This helmet was worn by the chap who was riding the motorbike. Again, quite distinctive, with a Kiwi motif on the side. These overalls were worn by the rider of the motorcycle, quite distinctive, a lot of zips on it, similar to like a flying suit, I think.
How important do you feel it is to catch these men?
It's imperative that we catch these men. This was a very serious offence indeed, with gratuitous violence used. They could well strike again. We really do need to catch these men.
Right. And there is a substantial reward too. So if you can offer any help at all, please do ring. Those people's injuries could have been so much more serious, and there could well be a next time, as we've heard. You can ring us in the studio on 0500 600 600, or you can ring the Rugby Incident Room direct, and that number is 0926 415 656. That's 0926, the code for Rugby, 415 656.
Do bear with us, though, if you're finding the lines busy, because they are very, very busy at the moment. Photo call, possible sightings of Everett Watson, the cigarette thieves. We've got several names, some of which seem to fit with other clues, but most of the calls have been on David Hurd, the first postman to be killed on duty in 358 years of the postal service. We've had literally dozens of names put forward. We've found it very hard so far to collate them to find out how they tend to match, but some of them seem to be very interesting. One call in particular on a Vauxhall car that seems to fit other bits of information, and one call from a woman who was travelling in from Manchester on a train, who had her suitcase stolen at Sheffield, and she says that the guy who stole the suitcase was on the train from Manchester and looked very much like one of the people we showed in the reconstruction. Incidentally, there was some very useful information in from last month's incident desk appeals, and a man has been arrested for the rapes in Exeter. He was turned in not because of the programme, but because someone had noticed an injury he'd sustained. In fact, another woman had been attacked after last month's Crimewatch, and she fought back and caused a neck wound to her assailant. A man has now been charged with 5 very serious separate crimes. Let's see what happens this month here with another file of cases of Superintendent David Hatcher and Constable Jackie Hales.
First, we need your help to solve the murder of 2 pensioners, Annie Castle and her brother William Bryan. It happened last August in London's East End. They shared a flat in Bethnal Green and were well liked in the local community, where they'd lived for the past 47 years. Annie Castle, a 74-year-old widow, was last seen at about 8:50 p.m. on Sunday, 22nd of August, when she returned from a senior citizens club. About 2 hours later, a man was seen sitting on the wall outside Priam House, where Annie and her brother lived. We'd like to speak to that man because he may have vital information. He's in his mid-20s, 5'9", slim, with short hair, and was wearing a dark jacket and white trainers. A large amount of jewellery was taken, and if you can help in any way, please call the incident room on 071 488 6668. That's 071 488 6668.
Detectives in Northumberland need your help to catch this man who viciously assaulted 2 women in December last year. 2 friends were walking home along this street, Longlands, in Hexham, at around 2:30 a.m. on December the 19th. A man came up behind them and punched them in the face. The attacker pushed one of the women to the ground and then attempted to indecently assault her friend. Her friend struggled free and ran for help. By the time she returned, her attacker had fled and was last seen at the corner of Longlands and Hextall Crescent. You may have been there in the early hours of December the 19th and seen where he went. He's in his 20s, 5'9", medium build with mousy hair. He was wearing a dark polo neck jumper and black jeans. If you recognise him, please call the police at Hexham on 0434 600 057. That's 0434, the code for Hexham, 600 057.
Next, can you help our colleagues in West London solve a robbery? On October the 28th last year, 2 men entered this Texaco petrol station in Scrubs Lane, West London at 6:15 p.m. They threatened the employee behind the counter and stabbed him 8 times before leaving with the cash. The attackers then fled across the road into Parkland and ran for a quarter of a mile before coming back into Scrubs Lane, where a car swerved to miss them. You may have seen them as they ran north towards Mitre Bridge. One of the men is in his mid to late 20s, 6 foot tall, stockily built and had thick stubble. 2 weeks later, on November the 9th, the same petrol station was robbed again. The robber was captured on the security camera. He's about 6 foot, slim and appeared unshaven. We believe he could have been involved in the previous robbery. If you can help, and there is a reward, please call the Metropolitan Police on 081 246 2736. That's 081 246 2736.
Now look carefully at these children's clothes. They're made by the Dutch company Oi Lily and are from the Winter 93 collection. At 11:45 a.m. on Monday the 13th of December, more than 40 items of Oi Lily clothes were stolen from this shop in Lytham, Lancashire. 2 men threatened the store assistant before escaping in a blue Vauxhall Astra. It had been stolen earlier the same day from the town's hospital car park. About half an hour before the robbery, a second car was seen with the Astra, a green Vauxhall Belmont, which had been stolen from Walton in Liverpool. Both cars were later found abandoned, one only a quarter of a mile away from the shop and the other back in the Liverpool area. The robbers are in their early 20s and about 5'10". The first man had short dark hair and spoke with a Liverpool accent. He was casually dressed. His accomplice had short, mousy hair and was similarly dressed. If you know the robbers or have been offered any of the clothing, particularly at a car boot sale or market stall, then we'd like to hear from you. The number to ring is 0772 617 771. That's 0772, the code for Preston, 617 771.
Well, the free call number here in the studio, 0500 600 600. Costs you nothing. Your call could be the crucial link, 0500 600 600.
Now, Crimewatch has often featured people who've disappeared, but we've only appealed really on behalf of missing persons if police are convinced that they've been murdered. We don't want to pester people who've left home of their own accord. But police and families have asked us to cover a broader range of cases. Cases where there's no actual evidence of a crime, but where a crime must be suspected. And here in the studio tonight to take calls on the appeals you're going to see are members of the Missing Persons Helpline. Chris Dray is one of the people who set it up. Chris, what exactly is the Missing Persons Helpline?
The Missing Persons Helpline was established as a charity after 2 senior police officers recognised there was the need for a support agency to support those left behind when someone has gone missing.
And what do you do that the police don't do?
Well, for the police, I mean, they deal with a whole variety of incidents, and missing persons just being part of their workload. We have a national 24-hour helpline which is there for those who are left behind when someone is missing. We can provide practical help, advice and support both in serious and the less serious cases of people who go missing.
Why is there such a need for an agency like yours?
Well, we're currently taking over 650 calls a week on the helpline. It's estimated at any one time up to 250,000 people are missing in the UK, up to 100,000 incidents involving youngsters.
Because one of the main problems with these kind of cases is that people often don't want to be found.
Well, we're the very first people as a charity to respect every individual's right who wants to go missing. Our primary aim is to try and get in contact with them to establish that they're safe and well, and to offer a line of communication with their families.
So it is an absolutely confidential service?
An absolutely confidential service, and tonight if viewers do have someone that's missing, it's better to phone the Missing Persons Helpline rather than clog the lines here at the studio.
And I understand also there's 24-hour support. There's always somebody on the end of the line.
It's national and it's 24 hours.
All right, Chris, for the moment, thank you very much. If you can help, if you recognise yourself or someone else in the appeals you're about to see, then please do get in touch. The number here in the studio, of course, is 0500 600 600, or you can ring the Missing Persons Helpline direct. That number is 081 392 2000, 081 392 2000, and remember their line is absolutely confidential.
First then, a young man who vanished from a university campus. It happened 7 years ago, and he hasn't been seen since. This is John Dobson, or at least this is how John looked before he disappeared. His parents take up the story.
John was our only child. He was born the 10th of July 1960. We had been married a long time and didn't really think we were going to have any children, so he was very wanted and very loved. John went to Sussex University when he was 18 to study in the Department of European Studies, and one of the years was a year abroad, and he spent the year in Paris at the Sorbonne. He can speak French fluently, enjoys it, got a super accent, really good. Wish I had it myself.
After his degree at Sussex and the Sorbonne, John went on to university at York and then back home to Preston to do an MA at nearby Lancaster University.
I think he quite enjoyed it, you know, going from one university to the next. He was the perpetual student.
On Monday, the 1st of December 1986, John got a lift to university from a near neighbour, Rod Carter.
7 years ago, I was a second-year undergraduate student at Lancaster University. I met John through a note on the notice board. We made a flexible arrangement that I should give him a lift from Preston to here to the university, and he contributed towards petrol. John and I chatted as normal that morning, although he was quieter than usual, and we got to the university at about 10 o'clock, and that's the last I ever saw of him.
At midday, John went to see his lecturer, Professor Eric Evans.
I'd known John for a couple of months. He had come to the MA in Modern Social History course, which I direct. The last time I saw John was, in fact, in this office. He'd come to see me in the mid-morning to talk about some work he was preparing. I had suggested to him that we might have a longer conversation that afternoon. He was, as I recall, non-committal, saying he hoped he might be able to come back. Of course, as everyone now knows, he never did.
This is John's study. It's just as he left it 7 years ago. All the books are here. And this is one of the things we couldn't understand. The fact that he had so many books, he loved his books, and he left them all behind. And everything's just waiting here for him to come back again.
There's no hint of drugs, financial or sexual scandal. Have you heard any rumours? Do you know where John Dobson went?
I mean, I'm always waiting for the phone to ring, for the door to... In fact, I sit in the other room often. I'll sit in a chair looking for him. His head used to appear over the hedge, and I sit there looking for his head to start appearing over the... And if... He just never goes, it's there. Never will go until I find him.
John, if you're watching, or if anyone knows where he is or where he went, please call.
This is Stephanie Whitaker, a university graduate who lived in Newport, South Wales with her husband and 3 children, one of whom was an 18-month-old baby. One evening in March 1990, she went out to meet a girlfriend for a drink, but Stephanie didn't turn up and hasn't been seen since. It was Friday the 23rd of March. Stephanie was 34 years old at the time. Her family and friends say she would never voluntarily have left her husband and children. She'd taken no spare clothes or money or documents with her, and police now do fear the worst. If you can help, at least to put Stephanie's family out of the misery of endless wondering and worrying, you can call either the Missing Persons Helpline on 081 392 2000, or you can ring us here in the studio on 0500 600 600.
Our next case is equally baffling. Louise Kay was 18 when she vanished without trace early in the morning of Friday the 24th of June 1988. Neither she nor her car have been seen in the 5.5 years since. She lived with her parents near Eastbourne in Sussex.
Ben! Ben! Woo! Hey! Ben!
We bought to Ben for Louise for her 14th birthday. She loved animals very much. She was very fond of Ben. He had an exceptionally lovely nature. Louise used to take Ben out a lot with her friends. Her friends meant very much to her, and also her family.
She was a very loving girl, very affectionate girl, and even at 18 years of age would want to cuddle her mother and wanted lots and lots of affection.
Louise was very keen on fashion clothes.
Hi, I'm sorry I'm late. Oh, that's all right. I got us a cup of tea. Oh, great, thanks. Hey, look, do you like my new top? Oh, yeah.
In early summer in 1988, Louise and several friends were planning to go down to Newquay in the West Country to work there through the summer season.
We are going to Newquay, remember?
Louise had tried her hand at several jobs, but for a month now she'd been on the dole. She'd set her heart on heading off next week for Cornwall. On the final Thursday night in Eastbourne, Louise went with a boyfriend and some others to a disco on the pier.
Me and Louise have been best friends since we were about 15. We used to go out together and have a good time.
In the early hours, Louise and her 3 friends set off on their journey home.
I'll drop you first, John, is that okay?
Okay, great.
Since Louise had use of a family car, she often ferried everyone around. But on the way, there was an argument between Louise and Pete, her boyfriend. Once the boys had been dropped off, Sarah tried to calm things down.
What's up, Louise? Pete and I can't go to Newquay this weekend because of his gyro. He's got to pay the rent on the flat. Well, I'll come down a week later. Week won't matter. We were supposed to go this weekend. I've got my stuff ready and everything.
When, at 4 a.m. or so, they got to Sarah's house, Louise was calmer, but still in a bad mood.
Are you sure you're going to be all right? Yeah. And you really don't want to come in? No, I don't really feel like it. There's no point. Okay, if you're sure. Okay. Thanks for the lift. Bye. See ya.
From Sarah's house, Louise had only a 4-mile journey home. But she never arrived.
It's caused us much sadness that we've missed more than 5 years of her life. We do wish Louise would please get in touch with us. So put our minds at rest. And we want to know that she is safe and well, and to reassure her that we do all miss her so much and we all love her so much.
If you know anything about Louise's disappearance, she'd now be 24, please do call. Did anyone say or hint anything that you remember? Did you see that gold Ford Fiesta with the white driver's door? If you're a scrap dealer in particular, could you please check your records for June, July 1988? Someone knows what happened. Please give us a ring. 0500 600 600. That's the same for all our cases. 0500 600 600. Or of course you can always contact the Missing Persons Helpline on 081 392 2000. That's 081 392 2000.
Well, we're getting an awful lot of calls in here at the moment. I think all our lines are busy. We've had a really tremendous response on the murder of the postman in Sheffield, David Hurd. And people are ringing with names. We've had quite a lot of names. I think the Sheffield police are going to have their work cut out going through these leads. But some of them are looking very promising and they're delighted with them. We've had some leads on the Vauxhall Cavalier for them to work through too. On the jewellery raid, at least one call we've had on the Rolex watches. Somebody thinks they've been offered the Rolex watches for sale, so that one's being followed up. And a possible lead on the white car. And some names. Incident desk is getting quite a few calls, and so is there's our photo call case on Everett Watson. There's some promising lead being followed up there. So it's all looking pretty promising at the moment, and our lines here are open till the end of the evening, so I hope we'll be taking a lot more calls before midnight. If you're finding it difficult to get through, which you might well be at the moment, please do keep trying. And we'll be back in just over an hour for Crimewatch Update. That'll be at 11:15 after question time.
If you can't stay up till then, please rest assured the crimes we've shown really are isolated ones, and what's more, with luck, as you've heard, they're on the way to being solved. So don't have nightmares, do sleep well. Good night.
Good night.